Hello and welcome to the Small Business Show. My name is Conn Muíneacháin.
And I'm Kehlan, Kirwan, editor of FocuSME the online showcase for Irish small business and innovation.
Joining us on Skype is Siobhán King Hughes, Managing Director of Sensormind, a new startup which uses innovative technology which enables older people to live independently in their own homes. Siobhán, you're welcome to the programme.
Thank you very much.
Later in the show, Donncha Hughes from Bridgewater Management shows us how to write a business plan.
And I'll be talking to Gunnell Trehan from Brazon Seafood in Rossaveel in County Galway about a family business that now employs over 25 people.
But first to the news, as reported this week on Kehlan's site, FocuSMEIreland.com. And the first story, I reported this one as it happens, Kehlan. Almost 5,000 buyers from 17 countries attended Showcase Ireland, which was held at the RDS over 4 days this week. It's organised by the Craft Council of Ireland, and it's the major trade show for craft industries in Ireland in its 36th year. After the show, I spoke to Brian McGee, who is Head of Market Development with the Craft Council of Ireland.
36 years, it is, it's a fantastic show. The international trade fair environment is very competitive, and, Paris and London and New York, all the major cities have trade fairs in January and February of every year. And we, work very hard to bring international buyers into Ireland for Showcase. Because really it's much more cost effective for small businesses to get them, to bring the buyers to them, as opposed to trying to bring all the small businesses to another country. And this year we had 4,997 buyers come in from Ireland, Northern Ireland, and 17 different countries. We had a great contingent of about 50 buyers in from Japan, who were very keen to buy mainly textile products and jewellery. They're buying beautiful sweaters, blankets, things like that. The thing about, I suppose, Irish craft, and you mentioned cottage industry, we're a long way from the cottage industry really in Ireland. The companies that we represent are actually producing really good design. And I think that's probably the main change that's happened. We're not making souvenirs anymore. We're making really well designed and well made high quality products. And in the most upper end of retail around the world, that's what they're looking for. The consumers who come in are looking for authentic products that are very, very high quality. And that's why they come to Showcase, really, to buy that kind of product.
That's Brian McGee. He's the market development manager with the Craft Council of Ireland. They're the umbrella body representing 2,500 independent craft producers or artists and manufacturers all over Ireland. A great show, a great event altogether. I was talking to Chris Gordon, who's been on the show before with us, Kehlan, and he was saying that it was an absolutely amazing event and a very inspiring one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we need this kind of stuff at the moment to kind of help our economy. But also, I think what the great thing about it was it showed how strong brand Ireland really is. And when you have people flocking to what is essentially, don't forget, non-essential items. We're not talking about
gift items and things
exactly.
Like that.
Like kind of what we consider luxury items, and people want to buy that. They want to be part of it, and they want to have something in their house that was made in Ireland.
Brian was making the point as well. A lot of business coming from the Far East. There's a lot of interest from countries like Japan in Irish goods. This is encouraging, Siobhán, isn't it?
It is very, very much so. I think it's really fantastic to have an event like this, and especially since it's bringing in buyers and opening up those export markets for Irish craft people that they mightn't otherwise reach. I think the Craft Council are doing a brilliant job there.
Very good. We'll move on. Next story is kind of the newest news this week. Reform of bankruptcy laws, debt reliefs. Can you give us the main points on that, Kehlan?
Yeah, these are the new proposals for the new legislation of bankruptcy laws. These are the first one is the 1 year debt relief certificate, which allows a full write-off of unsecured debt under €20,000. This is for people with net monthly disposable income of €60 or less, or after reasonable living expenses per month. The second one is the 6 year personal insolvency arrangement. This covers secured debts such as mortgages. It can also include a write-down of a home loan if a tender or lender agrees. And the third one is obviously how how these kind of bankruptcy laws are going to affect, small business people is probably the most important thing.
3-year bankruptcy law is going to be welcomed, it says, by the small business community. However, that is still, how short in the UK is it still for bankruptcy?
It's a year.
It's a year, right.
And the point I made in the article was it's still 3 years is still too long. If you want to foster and encourage an entrepreneurial society, people need to be able to fail, recover and move on. You can't do that if you're twiddling your thumbs for 3 years, unable to start a company, unable to employ other people. And now, if you want to take the extreme case of something like, Sean Quinn or something like that, there's obvious scope for bankruptcy and stuff like that as well there to kind of keep somebody on a tight rein like that after such a huge amount of debt is incurred. But at the same time, if a business person and an entrepreneur wants to create jobs and wants to help the economy by paying PRSI, POA, etc., we have to let our entrepreneurs have a short turnover.
What do you think, Siobhán? There's a lot of talk about moral hazard and the impropriety of forgiving debt and letting people write things off and start again. But really, it's the only way forward, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. This is one of my total hobby horses. It's so penal at the moment, the way the rules are at the moment. It's totally against the spirit of entrepreneurship. So I would totally welcome the new steps. I certainly think 3 years is a big, big improvement over the current situation. Success, as you correctly pointed out there, it's a destination that you don't really get to in one step, usually. More often than not, most entrepreneurs arrive at their success after several failures. And I do know that in Silicon Valley, I've spent a lot of time over there, and a failed entrepreneur is far more valuable to an investor than a first-timer because they look on this failure as being a learning experience. It's a positive experience, and we should be encouraging that here as well.
It's a badge of honour in the States, though, isn't it, Siobhán?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's absolutely true because everyone recognises once you've failed, you've made those mistakes, you've learned those lessons. I mean, anyone in business for themselves will tell you that the hours they're working are long, the rewards are low. Your passion carries you forward. Failure in itself is a terrible burden for most entrepreneurs because they've already put in so much into the business. So failure is a big lesson that they learn. They don't forget these things, and being saddled with years of bankruptcy afterwards as a kind of a lesson not to fail is a pointless exercise. It's detrimental. It's detrimental to our entrepreneurial culture. It's detrimental to Ireland, and I think it's a complete disservice to our country. So taking steps to change that is definitely the right way to go.
The next one is a kind of a hobby horse of mine, immigration initiatives to focus on migrant entrepreneurs. This is something else I think that we can learn from Silicon Valley. I often notice that they attract people, they encourage people to go to places like that, and especially they like to encourage entrepreneurs. In fact, some of Ireland's most successful entrepreneurs are over there because they've been encouraged to be over there than here.
Absolutely.
What's this about, Kehlan? This is about encouraging migrants. This is about encouraging people who've come to live in Ireland to be business people, to invest in Ireland.
Yeah, but also to encourage foreign investors to come into Ireland and invest in Ireland and help create jobs and create businesses here as well. There's two parts to this initiative. One is the first program, which allows an immigrant investor to have a requirement between €400,000 and €2 million in an investment for them when they come over here. That's the amount of money that they have to basically promise to invest. And the second part is also aims to foster new enterprises for which the applicant will have to have financial backing of not less than €70,000. And it also says that these migrant entrepreneurs can come in and they can bring their families, etc. as well.
Is there citizenship involved? I don't see that.
I wasn't aware when I did the research for it that there was citizenship involved.
I'm not sure that there is. But do you remember, Siobhán, years ago, was it passports we used to sell in return for investment for people? Arab sheikhs and people would come and create jobs, and we'd give them citizenship as well.
Yes, I do. I remember the passports for sale scandal, all right. And certainly I'm sure that this is going to raise those questions again.
Well, I think the principle was sound, but what was missing is perhaps what is here now, which is perhaps a formal structure for a system like that to actually...
You have to show the cash.
Exactly,
basically.
but there is a programme involved here, really, and a certain amount of investment required.
Yes, and it'll be very interesting to see how it pans out. I mean, I'm a great believer in, mixing up different cultures, different ideas. There's always something new to learn. And Irish people have learned a lot by going overseas and picking up ideas from other places. So hopefully this will have the same effect as well, with bringing different cultures, entrepreneurship cultures in here and ways of doing business. It'll be very interesting. We need to see how it pans out.
The final story we're going to cover this week, all of these of course are on the website at FocuSMEIreland.com. Ennis Innovate gets an official launch, and you went along, Kehlan.
Absolutely, yeah, and it was a fantastic day. Ennis Innovate is doing something that really needs to be done a lot more across the country. Well, effectively what they do is they bring participants into the programme, and then these participants will have mentors, if you want to put it that, a group of mentors.
So they're startups. The participants are startups. They're companies that are being started up in County Clare.
Yeah,
right.
And effectively what happens is they're brought in, they get to speak to these group of mentors who will help them turn them in the right direction. They will not tell you how to do your business or tell you how to do your product, etc. They're simply there to steer you in the right direction, to develop your ideas. One of the guys that I talked to, that people can hear the podcast of on the site, is that he said he came in with an idea, and after a couple of months he realised, after talking to all these mentors and all these people who helped him, that the idea was completely useless. So he started a new idea and it worked out, and now he's doing very well. And the great thing is we featured 3 of those businesses on the Small Business Show, of course. We've had Enspire Rainwater Recycling. We've had Frason Systems, which you had just before Christmas. And we also had Trezu Block Booking as well. And 3 great businesses coming from one place.
It's something they often say, Siobhán, isn't it? Investment is one thing, but mentorship is almost more important.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this. I'm a great believer in the incubation space. I think putting entrepreneurs together is an excellent idea. It creates energy, gives people a chance to bounce ideas around. I came out of the Hothouse program at DIT, which is a similar incubator style program, and it provided great support, great mentoring. But also we gelled really as a group. Lots of us are still in touch, and I think I learned as much from the other startup promoters as I did from the formal aspects of the program.
What's your background, Siobhán? Have you always been an entrepreneur? What did you work at before?
I worked mainly in blue chip multinationals, and I would say that's been my learning experience.
And is that a useful experience when it comes to running a startup?
Yes, absolutely. Most of the blue chips that I worked for would have been startups in Ireland when I worked with them. So I've kind of been in that startup environment, but in a well-funded way.
Good. That's a nice way too. You're in a different kind of a zone now, running your own startup on your own initiative. Tell me about Sensormind and the idea behind it.
Well, the idea behind it is it's a system that's designed to assist families to support an older or vulnerable person to allow them to continue living alone independently for as long as possible. It's a software and a hardware product. It involves some sensors placed in the home. They monitor the behaviour of the older person, and if their behaviour pattern becomes disrupted, such that they may have had a serious incident, the system automatically alerts a family member or friend so that they can come to the person's aid.
What kind of disruption are you talking about, Siobhán? Like unusual activity or a deviation from a pattern? Is that the idea?
That's the idea. So examples would be the person maybe getting up in the night and going to the bathroom but not making it back to the bed, or the person leaving the home in the middle of the night, a particular concern for some of our customers who have dementia. The person not getting up in the morning and moving around as usual. Maybe something has happened to them or they feel unwell. It's really to facilitate early intervention if there's any kind of an incident.
And Siobhán, you were saying to me, I mean, the traditional alarm or home monitoring system has involved some kind of a panic button or some kind of a device that people have in their pocket or wear around their neck or something like that. But it turns out that that doesn't work very well, does it?
The traditional panic button or social alarm does work very well if somebody uses it. The reality is that, according to the British Medical Journal, 4 out of 5 people who have these buttons don't press them in case of an emergency. So it's either that they're not wearing it at the time, or they're unconscious or disorientated, or in the case of somebody with dementia, they can't really use it effectively. So, it's a problem when somebody is in trouble, but they actually can't reach or activate that button.
Or even
and that's where our system comes in.
Or even in some cases, and we all know people like this, they'll say, "Oh, I didn't want to bother anyone."
Embarrassment is a real factor
Yeah.
here. People don't want to cause a burden or be a trouble to anyone.
Yeah. So you've come up with, I suppose, artificial intelligence and some algorithms and heuristics and things to kind of solve this and address this. Siobhán, how's it going for you? How have you? How did you go about forming the company?
Well, the idea came about based on really a personal need, and I just thought we could use technology to do something like this, and built the first prototype. Got some positive reaction to the idea. I joined the Hothouse program, which was I mentioned earlier, and it was really an excellent form of support and organisation of ideas, really. And then just took it on from there. And now we've got several staff, and we've got customers in Ireland and in the UK, and we're getting a very positive response from the public to it. And it's a very rewarding business to be in, because you do hear a lot of really human stories, and we're working on a product that makes a real difference to people's lives every day, and that's really important to me.
Well, we wish you the very best of luck with it, Siobhán. Where can people find out more?
They can find out more on our website, www.sensormind.com.
That's
superb.
Very good. Thanks very much indeed. That's Siobhán King Hughes from Sensormind.com. And that's our news for this week. You can find out more about all the stories covered on the website at FocuSMEIreland.com.